God give us men, a time like this demand strong minds, great hearts, true faith and ready ends. Mr. Benga Agbeje, thank you so much for having me. God bless you, sir. I'm Bukola Agumbiade. I'm a pharmacist, a consultant lifestyle doctor, a sports doctor, a nutrition expert, amongst so many things. So today we'll be discussing about recode the player, African biohacking for peak performance. So let's pick the keywords. What does it mean to recode? When you want to recode, that means there is a code. Of course, there's an inherent code as an human being. That is the genetic code we inherited from both our mother and our father. Then what does biohacking means? Biohacking means you understand your biology and you optimize your biology. So in this case, we are now talking about optimizing, knowing the body of an African and optimizing the body of an African so that we are able to have peak performance. What does it mean to have peak performance? As a footballer, peak performance means you don't get injured easily, and even when you do, you recover very fast. So that means you have a quality and long career life. So what is that code? That is the first thing we need to understand. What is that code that is specific, that is unique to Africans? The first code that is unique to Africans is the sickle cell trait. If you are AS, for example, that means you are carrying the sickle cell trait. If you are AA, you don't have the sickle cell trait. The difference is, I explained the last time that sickle trait was our forefathers' way of surviving mosquito bites. That is why AAs cannot survive where there is mosquito, but AAs can sleep inside mosquito and they will survive. They won't get sick easily. So what happens is when the malaria parasites come in contact with the red blood cells, it sickles in somebody who has the sickle trait. It sickles, that means the shape changes, and when the shape changes, the malaria parasite cannot survive on it. But the downside to this is in extreme temperatures, that means high temperatures, or when an AS is dehydrated, that sickle trait that red blood cell will also sickle, thinking is malaria, because one of the first things malaria causes is to increase the internal temperature of the body. So if you are AS, you shouldn't joke with dehydration, and you should of course make sure you breathe in well and don't joke with dehydration. AA, they can't survive where there's mosquito, so make sure you avoid mosquito as much as possible. Then another code is the blood group. These are things you must know. You must know as a footballer. You must know all these codes that I'm talking about. Another one is your genotype. We have the blood group, the blood group O, the blood group A, the blood group B, then we have AB. It is beneficial to eat according to your blood group. We know you can't control a lot of factors, but at least those are extrinsic factors that you cannot control. At least the contributing factors, which are the ones you are doing by yourself for yourself, at least make the right choices. So for blood group O, for example, they do better on high protein diets. They do very well on meat, fish, lean protein, and all of that. But they must avoid dairy products. That means they must avoid milk, cheese, and all of that. Avoid as much as possible. Then blood group A, they do well on vegetable diets. They should also avoid dairy products. Then blood group B, those ones can take dairy products, but they should avoid processed food. Every blood group should avoid processed food. If you are a footballer, that your body is what you are using to make money, then you should avoid processed food. Processed food are food that are far from their original formation. Eat natural as much as possible. So what is another code that is unique to Africans? That is where we now tell each other the bitter truth. The bitter truth is that there is a truth in the bitter for an African. We have bitter genes. We have some genes in us that are beneficial, but they remain dormant. They remain recessive, until you take bitters. So as an African, one way to activate your detox gene, to activate your antioxidant gene, is to take bitters. You either take bitter vegetables, or you take bitter fruits like bitter kola, you take bitter leaf, you take uziza leaf. These are very, very important as an African because it activates your detox gene, like I said, and it activates your detox gene, it activates your antioxidants. That is a way to tell the body that, come, I need you guys to start working. Because our forefathers used to live in seasons, that is why they wait to be activated. But in this time and age where we are exposed to a lot of toxins, and especially somebody who is a footballer that uses their body, that means you need to activate as much as possible. And of course, as Africans, we also have a very special type of mitochondria. We have strong muscle fiber. That is why they are always coming, African footballers are raw talents. But we are changing the narrative. We are not just raw now. We are raw talent, born talent, but we are optimizing ourselves. We are knowledgeable now, so we are optimizing ourselves. We have mitochondria. We have a special mitochondria. Everybody has mitochondria, but we have special ones, and that is why we have strong muscle fibers, which is what makes us beneficial. But our mitochondria is clogged or gets clogged when we take oily foods, when we don't sleep, when we don't celebrate. They are very important. Those are things that are very important to us as Africans. So then there's also our nervous system. Our nervous system as Africans collects information. That is why our forefathers were not writers as such, because they could rely on their body to keep information. And that is why it's very beneficial that you are mindful of what are you storing in your body as an African footballer. Then of course we also have our CYP450, which is a protein, which is an hormone is a genetic variant. It is in our liver. This is also activated by the bitters that we spoke about. The CYP450 is the one that metabolizes our hormones, our drugs, our food, everything. So to activate it, to make sure it works optimally as an African, you need to activate it. So we understand the codes now. We understand we have a special mitochondria. We understand we have a special nervous system. We understand we have a special beta genes. We understand that we have the sickle traits. So how do we recode? It is about optimizing, hacking that our biology. So how do we hack that our biology? The first one is to avoid processed foods. These are food that your grandfathers didn't know. Your great-grandfathers didn't know anything about cereals. They didn't know much of bread as such. In fact, rice, a lot of us have parents who told us that rice used to be for celebration days. So, but because the world has changed, we are now eating this every day. The ones we can avoid, let's avoid them. So the first thing is to avoid processed foods. That means, like I said, food that are so far from the farm, like biscuits, fizzy drinks and all of that, beverage drinks, energy drinks. Let's avoid them as much as possible. The second thing is to start every day on an empty stomach. You start it with bitters. You either bite, as in chew bitter kola, or you chew uziza leaf, or you chew bitter leaf. For you, the chewing is important because the chewing activates the bitter receptor at the back of your tongue. So it's not a case of, oh, I don't like bitters, let me just take the bitter capsule. Hey, is there no way you can do it? No. Fortunately or unfortunately, that is our cross to carry as Africans. That is what makes us special and unique. And we must embrace that uniqueness. So start your day by biting bitter kola or taking bitter leaf so that it activates the gut, liver, brain axis so that detoxification and antioxidant production can start. Another thing is to track your sleep. Deliberately track your sleep so that you can improve on it. I mentioned the last time I visited that there was a documentary I had the privilege to watch of Cristiano Ronaldo sleeping 5 times in a day. Even if we don't have the luxury of 5 times in a day, let's make sure we at least have between 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Not that when we are asked to go and rest, that is when we start pressing our phone and you'll be wondering, oh, the sleep is not coming. The sleep will not come because your phone has something we call blue light that is designed to keep you awake. So make sure you reduce the blue lights on the screen of your phone, and of course try as much as possible to avoid pressing phones at night and just go to sleep. Make sure you get around 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Why is sleep important to you? As a footballer, you are exercising, you are training, you have match, you are using your muscles daily. When you are using muscles, you tear them so that they can rebuild. And it is when you sleep that your body can produce testosterone, that your body can produce growth hormone to be able to rebuild those muscles. Because in case you are wondering why your muscle is no longer building, it's because you are not sleeping well. So your body is not producing enough testosterone to build the muscle. Another thing that we have to do is to respect your nervous system. When you realize you are not happy, sit with yourself and ask yourself, why am I not happy? Don't just numb yourself by maybe going to take drinks or go and smoke something. No. You need to understand your nervous system because your nervous system is what you need on the field. Those split-second decisions are as a result of very sharp nervous system. So you need, but it is only a nervous system you've been communicating with that you respect, that you acknowledge, that you regulate, that will be useful to you on the field. And like I told you, our forefathers have a nervous system that keeps record. So if you lose a match, for example, dance, celebrate as if you won, so that your body is used to celebrating. If you are used to becoming bitter, you just cower after a loss, your nervous system will save it as Africans, and you'll be wondering why you getting tired easily on the field. It could just be as a result of your nervous system that remembered the last time you didn't do well on the field. So dance is very good for us as Africans. That is why you see that we are making waves in the world through Afrobeats and everything, because dance is indigenous to Africans. So dance regulates your nervous system. Do breathing exercises. It's important to us as coaches to inculcate all of this even in our players too. Encourage them to dance, especially the traditional dances, the bata dancing and all of that. Drumming is good for us. Then train your mitochondria. How do you train that your mitochondria? I said we have strong fiber muscles. Inside the muscles is where our mitochondria are. They get clogged by vegetable oils that we take excessively, by not sleeping well, by taking unnecessary drugs, because there are some There are some things that we are taking that are not necessary, like you're taking pain medication all the time, you have pain, instead of massaging, instead of going for a cold plunge, that you're taking drugs. All of these things, they numb the mitochondria. So you train your mitochondria by staying in the morning sun, by sprinting and resting, like you run very fast, high intense running, and you rest. Those ways you are training your mitochondria, and that is how you recode yourself as a player using African biohacking for peak performance. Thank you so much for listening to me. I hope to meet all of you when you start making all the dollars and the euros. Take care. Bye.